Well, hello there. Carol Dockum here with Beautiful Faces Going Places Women's Success Network. And I am super excited today because we have a very special guest today talking about the entrepreneurial journey. And so our special guest here is Melissa Kirkpatrick. She is a business coach, strategist, and a life coach as well. And I've invited her here today because, well, number one, she is on our success team here. So you can find her listed in our business directory. But she is a phenomenal business strategist, as I mentioned, and here today to talk about the entrepreneurial journey. And she and I had a fabulous conversation, I think a week or two ago, just regarding what it takes to be a small business owner, an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, that it takes more than just coming up with a great idea and hanging up your shingle and launching that website. There's so much more that it takes to be a successful entrepreneur. And it is a journey. And what I love about Melissa is that she actually has years of experience, not only from being a teacher in the teaching world, in the educational system, but she's also a business owner herself. She is a former golf course owner. And I can only imagine the lessons that she learned on owning and on the golf course. So please help me welcome Melissa Kirkpatrick.
Oh, thank you, Carol. It's always a pleasure to be hanging out with you and, developing our friendship as well as, our work engagements that we have now. But I think this topic is one that is really important with the clients that I'm working with and what I'm seeing in my own journey as an entrepreneur. We have lots to talk about, really a lot, but we'll keep it short today so we can really do more on Wednesday so people can register for that actual lunch and learn. And we're going to do some networking afterward. Is that correct? That we'll have that?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
good.
absolutely. Yes. So you are our speaker presenter this coming Wednesday, February 24th from 12 to 1:30. So Melissa will be doing a presentation on, the business journey. And then she also plans to make this very interactive. So you can actually bring your questions to Melissa and have them answered. So it'll be very interactive. And so that's 12 to 1. And then 1 to 1:30, we do a round of networking. So it'll be fun to meet some new faces as well.
Yes. Yeah. Great. And if anybody wants to post questions today in this feed, we'll be sure to go back and pull them out of that as well, because sometimes we think of questions and we want to, like I said, I want it to be interactive because to me, we learn a lot, we get a lot of information, but when we can't really apply it or know how it affects you, like that's where I think this is going to be key in this presentation, because we talk about things, but if you can't ask that specific, well, what does that mean for me and my business? Because we're cookie cutters, but we're not cookie cutters. And that's a part of that journey, right? The entrepreneurial journey is for everyone, just like life. We're all on our own journey, and we're going to have experiences and setbacks and fallouts. And I mean, 2020 told us a lot of what that is all about. And that's where I feel like this is really the place where I'm up leveling in my business and in my brand, and new logo, new website, all of that's about to launch. I don't know if it'll be ready for Wednesday or not, but I've worked with Darla Kirshner, who's amazing, a certified brand specialist in that. And it is going to be a game changer, but it also is, again, another piece of my journey of what that looks like and what I've learned from owning and operating the golf course to being a high school teacher in IT. Like all of those things are all a journey, and how you use your resources. Every decade I level up. And so that's where I think the value for this is really going to connect with a lot of individuals right now who's still in that, like, oh, I'm not sure.
No, totally. And I love what you said that, it's not about being a cookie cutter business owner. It is very unique for each and every one of us. And what building a business, well, number one, starting it, building it, scaling it. I mean, it looks different for everyone because we're all challenged with different things, if you will,
Mhm.
whether it's personal or professional or business related. We have, different industries. I mean, there's just so many different factors depending upon the industry, economics, and as you mentioned with your golf course, who would have thought, it would be weather dependent and, having a bad weather day on Father's Day would impact your bottom line. So, yes. So, how do we prepare for all of those factors beyond our control and continue to stay in business and do business? So, I think, and it is a journey, absolutely. And I think about even 2020, my goodness, what has that taught us all? All of the entrepreneurs, small business owners out there, no one saw that coming. And,
Mhm.
and all of us had to, I think some of us froze for a little while
Yep.
and then said, you know what, we've got to just jump back in and adapt and innovate and keep going. So it is a journey, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. We were talking prior before getting on here about how, Facebook came in at the right time. What was it, Squarespace, I think, before Facebook, and then look where Zoom landed itself in the midst of, COVID, like to be able to step up. And then now we've got Clubhouse coming on the forefront. Like that's the thing that motivates me is it's when you keep showing up. Being an entrepreneur is hard. If you don't want to say that out loud, I encourage you to say it out loud because I think we try to really falsify that being the entrepreneur is the best thing ever. I get to write my own schedule. I get to do my own thing. I make as much money as I want. And we know that it requires us to first recognize it's not that easy. It is hard. And my butt's got to show up every day in some capacity because
Yes.
I'm the CEO, CFO, COO, all those titles. But the thing
Right.
is you can embrace that. I think it's that we try to put on a front of, it's easy. Like you said about the golf course, I was just devastated recognizing the amount of revenue we lost on the Father's Day weekend when it rained. That was a chunk.
Yeah.
And it was like, and we can't get it back. You don't get any extra days to make that up, And that's, those are the moments in the journey that you have to really like pause and go, what can I make of that? The old saying, you take lemons, make lemonade out of lemons. But it really is about in preparation of things so that you're prioritizing, you're planning, and then you don't procrastinate, right? You keep those 3 P's in the simple format. You start recognizing like, wow, I make it harder than what it has to be. It's hard, but it's how hard do I want my hard to be? Right? You've seen some
Right.
of those memes like pick your
Yes.
hard.
Yes.
Yeah, and I want to shine some light on that on Wednesday's training because I think that's where this kind of conversation doesn't. People don't give. We don't give ourselves permission to talk about it, right? We have to
Right.
be. There's a perception. People walked into the golf course and like, oh my gosh, look at Melissa. She owns and operates this golf course. Like, she must be rich. She must play golf every day. She must travel. And it really wasn't that glorified what other people's perceptions were. But I'm
Exactly.
okay with that because that's what kept fueling me to be that person, to be someone that could, really own and operate a business, be able to golf
Mhm.
when I wanted to, be able to, have the luxuries that afforded me that. But it could have been really challenging. And it was when those, like I said, those days when revenue was not being generated and I had counted on that. I had
Right.
decided that money was coming in. And you were kind of speaking to that too. What do we do when you hit a point in your business that you didn't actively pursue new leads or people fell off your books and that kind of thing, and that is another piece of what we don't talk about because we want to set up that perception. But this is a safe place with beautiful faces. We can get raw and real, and if anything, that's what I want people to start. Say your truth and then adjust from there.
Yes.
Change
I
the story.
Yes, exactly. Change the story, and it is a story that we tell ourselves, right?
Mhm.
And you're absolutely right. There is so much that happens behind the scenes. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Mhm.
To make a business successful, there's a lot of sweat and tears in the
More
back.
tears.
Yeah, probably more tears than you know. So yeah,
Uh,
I always say, being an entrepreneur, small business owner is not for the faint-hearted. You're going to have
mm-mm.
a lot of setbacks and disappointments, and yeah, and
Yeah.
and not to compare your what is it? I heard this saying, not to compare your beginning to someone's middle or end, you know,
Hmm.
because they've already, put in the blood, sweat, and tears, and they might be a little bit, ahead of the game, or at least perceived to be.
Right.
And but not to compare yourself to that. You know what I mean? It's a journey and it takes time and
Yeah, the overnight success
consistency.
story was 10 years in the making. Like
Right.
that's what people won't necessarily say. So even back when I turned 30 and decided to get my teaching degree, all of that was in service of who I am today.
Right.
So that's, you're looking at a big span there of time. So
Right.
my success isn't just what I did the last year or two or three, it's all of those years leading up to this point. And when we really nurture that, when we really allow ourselves to see that, we also can identify patterns in that too, that maybe we keep, these stumbling blocks become consistent because we're not using them as stepping stones, right? We just keep stumbling over them. But if you can start really looking back and connecting the dots, you start seeing like, how I came out of this situation to that situation to this one. And that's where, as the entrepreneur, you can start really setting yourself up for success better because you're allowing it to be okay when something happens. It's not going to be out of the blue or I don't know what to do. It's like it's in preparation. Things are going to happen, good or bad, but it's what you do with what you receive from that. And I think that's another part, again, that we know we do the things, but the clarity around that, supporting my clients on their journey, that's what a lot of them, they don't recognize how much work they put in, how good they're doing, how they've moved mountains and stuff, because they're stuck in this, uh, almost like blinder vision. And I'm like, wait a minute, pull it back. Look at all these other things that you were able to do and accomplish. And, you set the goal, you set the intention, and showing up, that's the number one thing. If you don't show up, it's not going to happen. I've tried it, folks. It does not work.
I love that yes, I so much love that you said that because you're right. It is about showing up, exactly, and doing the work as well,
Yes.
but showing up, putting together your strategy, your plan, and showing up and taking action. And that's when, the magic happens. And I love that you shared that it's really years and stepping stones
Yeah.
of years of building upon to get you to where you're at today. And um, I'm thinking about an opportunity that I had to be part of a compilation book called Goal for It. And so I'm chapter 10 of that book. And this was 2 years ago. I had that opportunity and became a published author. But that chapter really was about, number one, experiencing what it would be like to be a published author. And number two, just doing that activity of where I've been and to
Mhm.
where I'm at today. Actually, that was 2 years ago, and it was a journey, it was a process, and it was just totally just amazing to actually write down all of those chapters in my life, if you will,
Mhm.
from being like a sales and marketing representative, then to becoming a Russian art dealer, then to becoming a real estate agent and an adjunct professor, and chamber executive, to now the CEO and founder of Beautiful Faces Going Places, Women's Success Network. But I get goosebumps just thinking about
Yeah.
that. It was almost as if it was a journaling exercise, but,
Mhm.
and I think that's what you coach your clients on doing.
Mhm.
When you really take a look at that path, that journey,
Yeah.
it's like, whoa.
Yes.
And
And
yeah,
just for everybody, I think we need Carol to tell us a little more about this at some another time. This Russian art dealer, like that's kind of an intriguing title.
yes, it
So
is.
stay tuned for that one. Oh,
Exactly.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah.
Having the awareness of our accomplishments, even when you were in school, even those, like I played for the choir, the high school choir, I played the piano, I played for weddings after that.
Wow.
It's like we know we did those things, but what do we really give ourselves the recognition? And as an entrepreneur, you got to be your number one cheerleader, you got to be your fan. And
Yeah.
just teaching that as part of my support with my clients, you've done good, you've done hard things, you've survived every hard thing up to this point, so
Yeah.
why would you not be able to be able to, do an
Yeah.
entrepreneur in a way that is with ease and flow. That's always my goal: ease and flow, be in
Yes.
alignment, higher vibration.
Yes.
And so many successful people, they make it harder, or they just drop out before they ever get there. And that's the thing that I'm seeing is sometimes we're going for a goal, but it might change. I mean, I didn't know I was going from teacher to golf course owner to business coach. Like, that wasn't necessarily the blueprint I created, but everything allowed me to do
Yes.
those things. And sometimes a client comes and says, "Oh, I want to do this." And then midway through our coaching, they're on to like this other thing that's bigger and better, because they actually did the work. They showed up and said, "What does fill my soul? What motivates me? What gets me excited?" And, let me do that. And the other thing is remember, everything's a placeholder. Whether you do it 5 years, 10 years, or 50 years, everything's a placeholder. It doesn't mean it's going to be your forever, ever. Like,
Right.
this is just, and I'm all about growing and expanding and, living another 50 years. Like, I'm just going to just keep believing that to be true.
Me too. I'm right there
Yeah.
with you, Melissa.
Yeah. I mean, why
Yes.
not? Why
Yes,
not?
exactly. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do believe, I mean, I think that's it's almost a, you think about it, life just in general, you know what I mean? And if
Mhm.
as an entrepreneur, I think that's how we live, we thrive because we're really creatives, you know.
Mhm. Yes.
We
Yes.
are creatives, very creative, and as long as I know, speaking for myself, as long as I'm having fun, I'm enjoying, I'm excited about, creating some new programs or creating
Yeah.
these opportunities, this platform, I mean, that drives me, that just gets me going in the morning, and I'm
Mhm.
excited, and it's like, gosh, I mean, that's the way everyone, I feel like, should be living. Like, you're excited to do whatever is on your calendar today or tomorrow or this week or next month.
Yes.
But yeah, and that is
Yeah.
part of the entrepreneurial journey, I believe.
It is. It is. It truly is. And again, it's not always rainbows and butterflies. As you know, my mother-in-law
Yes.
just passed away 3 weeks
Yes.
ago. And,
I'm
that
so
was a
sorry.
part of, a
Mhm.
challenging. And actually, her illness started in December. And, just being able to be aware of how, there's moments like that. And it doesn't mean you're good or bad either way, that no one knows how to navigate that. You just
Right.
do the thing. You just show up in your authentic self. And if you need to
Yeah.
take a month off from your entrepreneurial job, then do that because
Yes.
of that. If you can do both, don't feel guilty. If
Right.
you feel like you're doing more in your business and not with the family, like, it's that, to me, is another key thing
Yeah.
that so many of us get wrapped up in the fact. And then the other challenge is, okay, I worked for 12 hours, but what did I really get accomplished? What did I really do in those 12 hours? And that's the burnout. That's the piece of the burnout entrepreneur, because we get into that mindset that just because I'm at my desk behind the computer, I'm productive and doing things. And 9 times out of 10, it's a very small amount of actual production. It's surfing through Facebook, it's looking at social media, it's
Mhm.
reading emails. That is not growing your
Right.
business. That is
Right.
not what's making the money come through. And
Yes.
that's the other part I feel is another not talked about in the
Right.
journey. Yeah.
Yes, you're absolutely right. And you just addressed two different topics that I think could be a talk on their own, or, or addressed on their own. Just that, I mean, that that opportunity to be able to have that flexibility of, as you are a small business owner, an entrepreneur, you're able to take that time and give yourself permission and grace to say, I need to be with a family member, a loved one, or to help someone, or even take time for yourself, your own mental health and wellness.
Yes.
I know, for example, the last 2 weeks I have been, on a mission to downsize and move, which has been physically and mentally exhausting, but also very freeing and embracing as well, because
Hmm.
that's what I want. That's where I want to be, to be flexible, to be in a position to travel when the world opens up, but to give myself that grace and say, you know what? Everything's on the schedule, everything's being handled. It's all good. You'll be back in the saddle on Monday, and here I am today, and I'm
Yeah.
so excited to be here. But giving ourselves that permission, I mean, that is the reason why we become entrepreneurs, and
Hmm.
because you can have that built-in flexibility when you need to, and not
Yes.
feel guilty about it. And then the other topic that you brought up, which I thought was just brilliant as well, was, I just lost my train of thought now. What was the number two thing? There were two topics there. I saw opportunities for. And now
Uh,
I got distracted. All right, now I'm gonna have to come back and circle back to it.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, but that's, I mean, there's so many different facets of being an entrepreneur and
Right.
small business owner. And I'm excited to learn from you on Wednesday at our upcoming Lunch and Learn networking event.
Okay,
We'll
good.
be sure to post the registration link below and come and learn and grow with Melissa Kirkpatrick, business coach and strategist. And it's going to be phenomenal.
I agree. And thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of that and to offer this. The training is priceless, and I want to be able to encourage those who attend or who watch the replay that it's all about once you receive the information, how can you show up and put it in action? Because we all have that investment we've made or investments, and we've all got
Yes.
the free download stuff. But I'm really on this. I've done it myself, and I recognize that it has not served me up until now. So up until now, that was my story. My new story is when I invest in something, I will show up. I will get something,
Yes.
one little gold nugget, if anything. And I think the mindset around that is key. Just like you claiming what it was for you, you created that vision of downsizing and travel, and we all see that so clearly. It's not happening yet, but you've got it locked in that this is the gold nugget when I do the things. And so I
Yes.
want that to be, part of this messaging too. Even in the conversation you and I had today,
Right.
somebody pull that gold, everyone pull that one little gold nugget that you heard. Like we said, you can take time off as an entrepreneur. You can set your schedule. You can go a different route if it presents
Yes.
itself. Like all of those things
Right.
is where
No,
is where the gold is.
it is absolutely. And that number two thing just came to me. It was all about productivity when we think, oh
Oh
my gosh,
yes,
I've spent 12 hours in my office on the computer and what have I achieved? Yes, that
yes,
productivity, that focus. And yeah, that's an entirely different training altogether.
yes, yes, yes.
So if you have any questions, regarding being a entrepreneur, small business owner, and your journey, please list your questions below, and then join us on Wednesday for our monthly Lunch and Learn networking event, and get those questions answered. It's going to be a fabulous event and a time to learn and grow together with Melissa Kirkpatrick. Thank you so much. So
Thanks,
appreciate
Jill.
you, and I can't wait to see you on Wednesday.
I look forward to it. Thank you as well.
All right, take care. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.